Hmm?
You're not gonna run out of ink.
Right.
Well, I keep a whole bunch of them in my briefcase.
Good afternoon. It is 3 p.m. and I'll call to order the Board of Directors regular meeting agenda for Monday, September 16th, 2024. May I have a roll call, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Here.
Director Duff,
Present.
Director Martin,
Here.
Vice President Griffith,
Present.
and President Sewell.
Here.
Thank you. We have quorum.
Thank you. Seeing all 5 directors are present, we'll skip item 3. Item 4, Pledge of Allegiance, if you'd please rise. Director Martin, would you like to lead us?
Place your hand over your heart and salute our nation's flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 5, Rules of Procedure, Counselor.
Yes, according to the rules of procedure adopted by the board, all noticed meetings are conducted using Rosenberg's Rules of Order as a procedural guideline. Directors should refrain from responding directly to public comments at meetings of the board. The president of the board presides at all meetings and decides all points of order and procedure during meetings. The president is responsible for the maintenance of order and decorum at all board meetings. No person should be allowed to speak who has not first been recognized by the president. No member of the board should speak more than once on any one subject until every other member of the board wishing to speak on the subject shall have been given an opportunity to speak. No board member shall interfere with the orderly progress of a board meeting, and the board president regulates the amount of time to be dedicated to a particular agenda item.
Thank you. Item 6, Public Input. This is the opportunity for members of the public to address the board on matters within the board's jurisdiction. Please limit comments to 3 minutes or less. State law prohibits the board from discussing or taking action on any item not listed on the agenda. Do we have any members of the public wishing to address the board?
President Sewell, we do not.
Thank you. Moving on to employee recognition, item 7, Human Resources Report. General Manager.
Thank you, President Sewell. We do have a presentation, short presentation. One milestone anniversary. Joe Hernandez, Field Representative 2, is a backflow specialist celebrating 17 years. But we do have 2 certifications in educational accomplishments to reference today. First, I'd like to congratulate lead fleet and facilities worker Alex Nine, who recently received certification from the National Institute of Automotive Service Excellence in steering, suspension, brake systems, and attending several college courses at the College of the Desert. Alex has been with the district for 7 years, working on construction and maintenance, working in the construction and maintenance department. He has been with Fleet and Facilities, lead position for the last 1.5 years. Here to say a couple of words about Alex is his supervisor, Field Operations Superintendent Jeff Nutter. Jeff?
Thank you, I just want to congratulate Alex for.
Sorry for the interruption, but we can't hear him.
Can you hear me now, Dory?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate Alex for all of his hard work. I know it took a lot of effort, doing his day-to-day job and then going to college after work and sometimes during work to achieve those 2, certifications, which just, helps us go forward, with all of our maintenance and everything we do. Along with that, he does a lot of our facilities as well. So he's learning a lot in the last 1.5 years. It helps working on equipment because he's used to, operating it because he came from the construction and maintenance, background. So he understands the operations of it. So it's been a really good transition. And to be honest, it's been a huge help to me, having somebody, to do all the work. So again, yeah, thanks again for all your work and dedication, Alex. If you want to say anything.
Hello, board members. I just want to say thanks to Jeff for giving me the opportunity to show some expertise in fleet and facilities maintenance, as well as the guidance to pursue what's necessary for the position itself. As a whole, I'm very fortunate to have the opportunity to even work here at Mission Springs Water District. It has been a very good 7 years, and I plan to continue my career here to retirement if I may. So thanks again for the opportunity, and thanks again, Jeff. I appreciate it.
And Alex, I'll speak for myself and everyone in this building. Thank you so much for staying on top of the air conditioning issue. I know that has been something we've been struggling with and had a couple of different ones go out. So thank you in addition to everything else you do for the district. Appreciate it.
And just to add, I forget who it was upstairs, but something was going wrong and they're like, oh, Alex, he can do everything. We just need to call him. So I feel like you're a jack of all trades. So thank you.
Next, I would like to congratulate Josiah Perez, Field Operation Technician 1, who recently received his Water Distribution 1 certification. Josiah has worked with the district for 9 months and has come to the district with some prior experience previously working at Desert Water Agency. According to his coworkers, Josiah has a lot of pride and enthusiasm and is a quick learner. Here to say a few words, Jeff Nutter. Jeff?
Thank you, General Manager Macy. Again, President Swool and the members of the board. It's a pretty good achievement, I believe. I've been going on 30 years here, and I know what it's like being here the first year. Josiah's, being new to the district, new to the industry still, because he was only at Water, Desert for a short period of time. But to learn everything that we do day in and day out, and then on top of that, having the obligation to get his distribution, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. So for an employee to actually achieve that in the first 9 months of his employment, it's a pretty good achievement, I think. There's a lot that they got to do with on-call and learning parts and the district, the water system, and then the stress of the test. It's a good, accomplishment. So Josiah, keep up the good work. He is one of a standout employee. He's, when you go on the job site, he's the one in the hole. So he really takes his job very seriously. And I hope he continues with his education, and he'll be a big asset to this here at the district. So thank you again, Josiah.
You're not going to stay?
We're going to have pictures after this.
Good afternoon, members of the board. I just wanted to say, thank you. I know I've been here for a short period of time, but every day I'm learning, and to get this certification was a big deal to me, especially coming from a different water agency. I did have my struggles with it. But I got it now, and I want to say thank you to Jeff and everyone else out in the field teaching me. I just hope I have a lot more years in me just starting. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
We will take a short break to get some pictures with the board. Yes, thank you both. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
With that, that concludes our HR report for today. We truly appreciate these employees for their dedication and commitment to our customers. And as you can see, they do enjoy being here, and we enjoy having them. So thank you both. Thanks, Jeff.
Moving on to action items. Item 8, public hearing resolution 2024-23, power purchase agreement with Trident Mission Springs LLC. It is recommended to adopt resolution 2024-23 and authorize the general manager to negotiate and execute a power purchase agreement and solar facility lease agreement with Trident Mission Springs LLC to design, build, and construct approximately 4 megawatts of renewable solar energy at 7 MSWD sites. This is a time and place fixed to solicit the public's input with respect to Mission Springs Water District, making a determination to approve a power purchase agreement with Trident Mission Springs LLC. The public hearing will be declared open and staff will give their reports. I will then call for comments from the public. During this time, there will be no back and forth conversation between the public and the board and staff. All questions will be noted and will be addressed after all public comments have been received. The public hearing will then be closed and the board may have a discussion if necessary. I declare the public hearing open. Secretary's report, please.
Notice of public hearing was posted to the Desert Sun on September 1st, 2024. As of this afternoon, there have been no comments or protests on this item.
Thank you. And we have a staff report.
We do. The power purchase for solar facility lease agreements have been finalized and included within your agenda packet. Those were new from between the study session and to today. So I hope you all had a chance to review those. I know there's a lot of information there, a lot of attachments. I felt like we've been working on this project, and we have for a couple of years now. So very happy that we're finally here talking about moving forward. Today we have with us representatives from Bridge Renewables, Staten, MSWD's consultant, Kenwood Engineering, as well as staff to answer any questions. And I would like to ask, I know you've seen this presentation at least 2, maybe 3 different times, so it's going to be an abbreviated presentation, but because we do have a public hearing, I would like it read into the record. So I'll turn it over to Tim Holmes from Kenwood Energy, excuse me. Tim?
Thank you, Brian. As Brian said, you guys have seen this, so I'll go through several of these slides pretty quickly. So we are Kenwood Energy. It's Tim Holmes and Donna Boyson. The project, as the general manager said, is one that we've been working on for a long time. So the project itself has not changed, but the delivery method has changed. So it's about 4 megawatts of generating capacity that should generate about 10 million kilowatt hours of energy per year. And we released a request for proposal back in May. We received questions, we answered those questions, and we received 2 proposals, one from Staten Bridge Financing, and it's a team of Staten Solar and Bridge Financing, and one from a company named Total Energies. And in summary, this is a comparison, the new project versus the old. So on the old delivery method, the owner would have been the district. In this method, the owner is Triton Renewable Energies, which is LLC, which is owned by Staten, and will eventually be owned by Bridge Renewables. And the energy or the net present value of the project through capital purchase down here would have been about 11 million in the old version, but doing it through a PPA, the net present value is between 13 and 18 million dollars. And one of the benefits is O&M responsibility as a third-party vendor and not the responsibility of the district. The proposal was evaluated on 5 different metrics. And Staten was very strong on qualifications. They're strong on engineering. They're best on the operations and maintenance. They provided a strong price, and they had good financial strength and financial backing. Then the structure is that Trident Mission Springs LLC is 100% owned by Staten. Staten will design and build the PV system. The work is funded by Bridge Financing. And on completion of construction, the ownership of Trident will be transferred to Bridge. And then MSWD will pay Bridge for the generated energy. And so that will be how the solar systems are paid for. And the next steps are to build the solar system. It says here 18 to 24 months, but Bridge, I think that's, I didn't update this. We fully expect all construction to be completed by the end of 2025. So that puts it at about 15 months. And we should be done with some time to spare. And we're expecting the internal costs to get this project completed will be about $150,000. And that is the end of my presentation. So if you have any questions, and again, there is Bridge Renewable funding is on the line, and Staten Solar is also available to take questions.
Great. Thank you, Tim. And before we get to board discussion, do we have any members of the public wishing to speak to the board on this item?
President Sewell, we do not.
Okay. With that, we'll declare the public hearing closed. And now we have board discussion. Do we have any discussion, questions, or comments, Director Martin?
Yeah, one thing, I was looking at the staff report in the binder, and while I am
supportive of this, what's going to follow here. I'm always concerned when we give estimates on things occurring so far in the distance. And we're talking about in the staff report, reducing the energy budget by approximately $300,000 annual beginning in fiscal year 2026. Factoring in future Southern California Edison rate increases, MSD would save an estimated $13 million over 25 years. And while I think that's good news, and I just really, we don't have a crystal ball to know what things are going to be like 25 years from now. And I think there is a risk involved when we make such predictions into the future.
Director Meyerhoffen, any questions?
Yes, I agree with Director Martin on that. The LLC, they could kind of fold up and walk away, and where will we be at if they do?
Tim, would you like to answer that question? I think we've talked about some of the risks where we are during construction, after construction, and then even the belt and suspenders approach. Could you go over with that or take that question?
Sure. There are several layers of protection for the district in the project. So there is a performance bond. So if they were to walk away, the district has access to that bond to pay for the construction of the project. There's a payment bond that protects the district in the condition that somebody does not pay a subcontractor, and that keeps the property lien free. There is a bond that protects the district from a security bond for construction not being completed by the NEM 2 deadline, which is April 15 of 2026. And then the last layer is that there's also a performance guarantee that if they are not generating the energy that is projected, or at least 90% of it, then the district starts receiving some payments to cover the lost savings.
I think these performance bonds, they will cover the complete cost.
Yeah, Brian, do you want to address that, or legal want to address what the performance bonds do? Because they're very common in public agencies, and you guys probably use them on almost any project that you bid on, and they are a district form.
I think our legal counsel can take this question.
Yes, the performance bond, if they were to not complete the project, then we could foreclose on the performance bonds and have the project completed. That's the concept.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Director Duff?
Again, for legal, I didn't get a chance to look at all the details, but we were able to correct the jurisdiction of the courts if we were to have to arbitrate to either LA or Riverside County. I know they verbally said that would be no problem, but I just wanted to make sure it was down here versus us having to.
I'm pretty sure it's all Riverside County now.
Awesome.
And I'll double check that. I have with me the copies from Thursday, the hard copies, but I'll look online while we're talking to make sure that it's in there.
That was the only remaining thing I had. So thank you very much.
Vice President?
So there's a lot of stuff in here and I can't find the exact page, but our cost for the electricity that we will purchase is fixed for the entire duration of this contract?
It escalates by 1.5% per year.
1.5% per year. Okay. I understand Director Martin's concern about projecting into the future, but I know that SCE has been raising their rates 6% or higher every year. And I think that anyone who had an electricity bill from this past summer can attest that I think our savings will be quite substantial over this long term. So I appreciate you bringing this forward. I'm happy that we can get this done with minimal outlay.
Thank you. And I don't have any further questions, just a comment that I really appreciate our staff. I know Angie did quite a bit of work bringing their project to us, but really it was our staff's due diligence to see that solar was the right way to go, just there was a better way to do so. So thank you to everyone, and thank you to Tim. I really think this is going to be a great project. With that, any other questions or discussion? Do we have a motion on the item?
Yeah.
I'll move.
So moved.
I'll second that. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Aye.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
President Sewell.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passes.
thank you. Item 9, ordinance 2024-02 and resolution 2024-24, updating and amending administrative code titles 1 through 3. It is recommended that the board adopt ordinance 2024-02 and 2024-24, updating and amending titles 1, 2, and 3 of the district's administrative code. Staff?
Thank you, President Sewell. Assistant General Manager Marion Champion will be providing a brief summary of this staff report.
Good afternoon, directors. Thank you for allowing me to come here today and to present on this. You have seen these 3 codes several times back last month and also at your workshop. As mentioned before, there is no new rule changes here. This is just a cleanup of our current verbiage. This also is in line with our strategic plan 6.1, making sure that we're adopting newer infrastructure and that we're aligning ourselves with industry best practices. I did have one change from what was presented inside of your packet and inside your booklets and also on the dais for many of you. There is a new copy of the resolution. Thank you to General Counsel. He did catch something that we had the no smoking area was out of place. And so we have moved that to the end of the resolution. It was on the 4th page of that resolution, and now it's back to the end of that resolution. So it's just been cleaned up a little bit further. But other than that, there's no changes aside from what you've already seen in your packets.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Director Duff?
Just the comments I had made at the study session, requesting that the specific section regarding our drug policies be brought back in a workshop. But other than that, I'm in full support of moving forward on these. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President? Director Martin?
Nope.
Director Meyerhoffen?
No, I just want to say that a lot of time and effort's gone into this. And even here today, we've got what, 5-6 pages of what was corrected. And so I know that it's really taken away from other things that you need to get done. And I'm glad that we're finally finished up with it. And thank you for your work on it.
Nothing further from me. Thank you. With that, do we have a motion on item 9?
So move. Motion. Second it.
We have a motion and a second. Did you get that, Dory?
I did, yes.
Okay. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Aye.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
President Sewell.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 10, Resolution 2024-25, designation of Mission Springs Water District positions authorized to apply for federal disaster assistance on behalf of the district. It is recommended to approve Resolution 2024-25, authorizing the following positions within Mission Springs Water District to apply for federal disaster assistance on behalf of the district: General Manager, Assistant General Manager, Director of Finance, and Director of Operations. General Manager?
Thank you, President Sewell. We did provide a presentation on this item on Thursday. I would ask, Danny does not have any additional items to add, but we are here available to answer any questions that you may have since the weekend. So with that, any questions?
Any questions?
No. No.
Director Deb? Vice President? Nothing further. Thank you for the presentation on Thursday. Do we have a motion for item 10?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call vote, please?
What was the tiebreaker on that second?
I'll let Director Martin, age before beauty.
Director Meyerhoffen,
Oh, yes.
Director Duff,
Aye.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
President Sewell.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passes.
thank you. Item 11, Resolution 2024-26, authorizing the general manager to sign and execute agreements and necessary supporting documents with the Army Corps of Engineers for the Groundwater Quality Protection Program. It is recommended to adopt Resolution 2024-26 and authorize the general manager to sign and execute agreements and necessary supporting documents with the Army Corps of Engineers for the Groundwater Quality Protection Program. General Manager.
Thank you, President Sewell. On Thursday, Eric Weck, our engineering manager, gave a presentation regarding this item. Eric, do you have anything to add from Thursday's discussion?
Yes, General Manager. Thank you. Good afternoon, President Sewell and members of the board. I believe one of the questions that was raised by Director Meyerhoffen when I showed the map, and I'll go ahead and show it up right here, of the different areas of the different assessment districts. And that would be this one. The question was there any mobile home parks in these 6 areas? And those 6 areas were A, G, H, I, J2, and K, as well as D3, and that's a future agenda item for today. And the answer is no, sir. There are no mobile home parks in those areas.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Did we have any further discussion questions for Eric?
Nope.
Director Martin? Director Meyer?
Yes, I also mentioned that, and I appreciate your honesty with that question that I asked you. Has coordinated with the city on what they'll be doing in the future?
Yes, sir. I confirmed that with the city staff this morning, and they came back to me saying, yes, there is no near future paving for area D3. And that's the one that's going to be starting in the beginning of 2025.
Thank you.
So there's no paving that's planned for that. So we've got green lights.
All right, great. Thank you.
Director Duff? Vice President? Okay. Thank you very much, Eric. I think this is going to be great once we have all of our different areas designed, and hopefully can work on some more grant funding. But with that, oh, and I'm sorry, Dory, have we had any members of the public join us? Do we have anyone wishing to speak on item 11?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a couple of questions for the general manager.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
What will be the cost to the homeowner on this?
This is just to execute an agreement. There is no cost. This will set us up so we can move forward and start adding either design or construction contracts with the Corps specifically. Okay. So the cost will be based on the project as we bring those to you, and we'll address those when we bring those specific projects to you.
Make sure I was on the same page here.
Yeah, no cost right now.
Thank you. Do we have a motion for item 11?
I will move.
And I will second.
We have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Aye.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
and President Sewell.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Item 12, Resolution 2024-27, amending classification and compensation plans for fiscal year 2024-25. It is recommended to adopt Resolution 2024-27, amending the classification and compensation plans for fiscal year 2024-25. General Manager.
Yes, thank you, President Sewell. This item you have in front of you is simply adding a wastewater operator 3 position to the class and comp chart. If someone were to be at the top step for the 2 and going into the 3, the financial impact would be just over $10,000 per year, $10,156. This position is necessary to allow us to adequately staff the new Wright facility, which will be coming on shortly at the end of this month or beginning of next month. So this is something we've talked about. And again, as we talked about on Thursday, I appreciate the board's support. We've added several different positions, certain levels, if you will, to the wastewater department. Looking forward to this opening, and this is another piece of that to complement the opening of that plan. So with that, take any questions.
Any questions from the board? Director Martin?
No.
Director Marioff?
No.
Director Duff? Vice President? I just have one small question. I know we have one that's ready to, that will be at that level 3. Will this also give opportunity for level 2s to also move up?
Correct. Correct. One of the things that we have done, we did our last class and comp a couple years ago, is we get certification pay. So if they go above their certification, we find that there's more value in that employee, even though they're in the next certification. So we give them a increase in salary. So that has allowed at least one person to take advantage of that and get that 3, and we'll be able to move this person in. This will also further encourage others to come up. I believe it is it's not quite 10%. This difference is a 10%, so it's not the same as a certification pay. So this should incentivize the employees even more to be able to grow from a 2 to a 3.
Great, thank you. And with that, do we have a motion for item 12?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Aye.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
President Sewell.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passes.
thank you. Item 13, California Special Districts Association 2025 Committee and Expert Team Participation. It is recommended that board members or management staff consider serving on one or more of CSDA's standing committees. And I know we talked about this on Thursday. Did we get any more information on commitment?
We did. So most of their committee meetings are all done via Zoom, but as you can imagine, the ones that are held during the conferences, they also have in person. So the time commitment would be just preparation for each meeting, but they would not require travel. And since we do typically participate in the annual conference, then that would be just an additional meeting, usually preceding the conference. Hopefully that answers your question.
And I know there's quite a few different opportunities: legislative, professional development, member services, audit committee, elections and bylaws, and fiscal committee. Did anyone on the board, was anyone interested in any of those? Vice President?
Nope.
Legislative?
Yeah.
And then do we need to do anything formally today?
No, we just wanted to gauge the interest of the board so we could start going through the nomination process. So we know that we have at least one, and quite frankly, it's also an opportunity for staff, and we haven't actually reached out to staff the way we have the board. So we'll start doing that as well and start positioning ourselves to try to get on these committees.
Okay. And then was it start of the year is when we would need to?
Yes, the term would start at the beginning of the year.
Okay, great. Thank you. So no action needed, sorry.
No, not at this time.
Moving on to item 14, award of contract to TKE Engineering for Area D3 Waterline and Service Replacement Design Services. It is recommended to authorize the general manager to negotiate and execute a contract with TKE Engineering Incorporated for a not to exceed amount of $55,000 for design services for the Area D3 Waterline and Service Replacement Project, and create a new capital job to include design service costs for the Area D3 Waterline and Service Replacement Project, and include staff time for project management and plan review and ancillary costs in the amount of $12,000 for a total of $67,000. General Manager?
Thank you, President Sewell. We did provide a presentation on this item on Thursday to clarify one of the questions that was asked regarding the cost of connection. When I responded, my response was not necessarily accurate. When we look at a sanitary connection, the septic to sewer, the lateral, that is based on the funding agencies. Some of them require us to take it all the way and pay for all the costs. Some of them require that the homeowner do that. But where I misspoke was on the water side. Typically, it has been our district's response. We've taken the responsibility to make sure that connection to the water side is part of the project cost and not be on the owner. Is there anything, Danny, you'd like to add to that? Lastly, we do have Mike Thornton, the president of TKE, on the line. I think he's here for this item, but also here, I think more in line with the next item because it's staff augmentation, but he is also available to answer any questions you may have on this item as well.
Okay. And that's good news to hear that we cover some of that cost. I know it could be, we don't want any of our customers to go without water should we replace
right
to the front of the house. Any questions, Director Martin, Director Meyerhoffen?
How much is it going to cost the homeowner?
For the sewer?
Yes.
That depends on the project, but I can tell you on M2, one of the grant requirements is that we took it all the way to completion, so there is no impact to the homeowner. So from that perspective, on M2, which would be the next project you see coming to construction, there will be no cost to the homeowner on those two projects.
I understand that part, but on this project D3, how much will it cost the homeowner?
We won't know that until we bid the project. This is design. We won't know until we actually bid the project.
I just, we spent $68,000 here. We know the homeowner is going to have to come up with something. It's going to be put on their tax rolls. I just don't want to see the homeowner have anything put on the taxes.
And that's a decision that the property owner has an opportunity to make that.
Yes, and let's say it's $10,000. How will the homeowner pay for it? And monthly installments, once a year, come up with it all at once?
They can do a variety of different things. Everything you just mentioned, they can do.
We're at a time when a family of 4 is having to come up with an extra $11,000 now. Homeowner insurance is going to be going through the roof. There's 22 insurance agencies that provide homeowner insurance that are leaving the state. I just can't go along with it for those reasons. I don't want to see any of this happen.
Let me remind you,
we're in the design stage here, but we're going to spend $68,000 so I can vote no later.
Well, I guess from that perspective, we do understand some of our customers' situation, and that's why we are so active in trying to provide grant funding for these projects. So, and that's why all these projects do not move forward until we have grant funding that pays 50% of that. So we understand that there some of the obstacles that are in people's way and knowing inflation and everything else. But I think the board has done a great job in its guidance in providing at least 50% on grant funding and making in taking the effort, the time, and the sacrifices to go to Washington, D.C., to go to Sacramento and asking for these funds. So from that perspective, we can do all of these projects almost immediately, but then it would be fully burdened on the homeowners for both the construction on their own property as well as the assessment district that would be created to do the sewer project itself. So from that perspective, the board's has done a fantastic job in trying to reduce as much as we possibly can. But there may be a cost on some of these projects. D3, I don't know exactly what the funding mechanism.
I think that the general manager and the staff has done a great job, and I don't want you to stop looking for this grant money or stop from trying to get people connected to the sewer, because it's very important for our groundwater. I guess my concern is, are the homeowners going to be able to afford this? I don't want to see them lose their homes or be overburdened and then end up out there in a trailer in the desert dumping their sewage into our groundwater. So that's my thoughts on it. I'm sorry.
And I'll come back to you, Russ. Director Duff, did you have any questions or comments? Vice President?
I just have a question for Mr. Thornton, which is related to this and the next one, since they're both kind of related. And so I can ask it now, or I can ask it on the next one, whichever anybody prefers.
Russ had a comment on this one specific. Do you want me to go to him?
Go to him.
Okay. Russ?
Yeah, in the past, when we've had similar things on there, it seems to me that the cost was spread out over like 20 years. It was a long time that it was spread down for the homeowner. And second of all, the property value for those properties that are on sewer will increase. So that'll take away some concern over having them to pay again over a long period of time. It was only small amounts of money each year, so it's not like we're giving them a bill for $20,000, say pay up or get out. So, but I understand your concern. But anyway.
And I'll just kind of echo General Manager's comments as well as Director Martin's comments. Our goal is to get everyone onto sewer. We've had a woman from a different area, unfortunately. She's further down the list, but she basically is coming here begging to get her septic tank removed and get onto sewer. I think it will be difficult for some, but I trust our staff will do the best they can to get grant funding. And if we were to contaminate our groundwater, it'd be a lot more expensive than a connection to the sewer.
I would love also to be put on sewer, but it would be a financial burden. And even over $10,000 spread over a 20-year period comes out to somewhere around $50 a month. And that's without the interest. And if they're paying $25 now, that would be a $75 increase every month to these folks. Mm-hmm. And it could be hard to come up with for some of them on fixed incomes and families that are struggling.
I agree. And I think we've seen over time, the longer we wait to do these projects, the cost continues to increase. So this item specifically is to get the design done. I think that will give staff data, give us data for when we go to Washington, D.C. and different legislative trips to hopefully get as much grant funding as we can if we can show them the project's ready to go and the cost that it would be. So with that, do we have a motion for item 14?
I'll move.
I'll second. We have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyer-Huffin?
No.
Director Duff?
Yes.
Director Martin?
Yes.
Vice President Griffith?
Aye.
And President Sewell?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 15, award of contract to TKE Engineering for temporary staff augmentation. It is recommended to authorize the general manager to negotiate and execute a contract with TKE Engineering Incorporated for a not to exceed amount of $30,000 for engineering staff augmentation services. General Manager.
Thank you, President Sewell. As we talked about on Thursday, this is a true staff augmentation contract. It's temporary as we continue to fill 2 open positions within engineering. It is a not to exceed $30,000 and it should get us through the next several months. But at that point, we hope to have both positions filled and no longer need this augmentation. So from that perspective, it is to help us get through some hiring processes, and we continue to move forward with both of those processes. The board did ask that Mike Thornton, the president of TKE, be available for questions. He is on the call, or excuse me, on Zoom, and available for any questions.
Thank you. Vice President?
Yeah, so I do have a question for Mr. Thornton. Are you there?
I am here. Hopefully you can see me.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not. There you go. I guess my main concern is that is with the invoicing and the timing of the invoicing. And so our accounting department is struggling, and I know we've brought this up, and maybe, I don't know if we've brought it up directly to you, but I know it has been discussed before in terms of getting invoices in a timely manner. So it delays our ability to close our monthly accounts. And so I want to know what are things that we can do to make that occur much quicker. In other words, so if it's at the end of September, we get it maybe by the end of October as opposed to November or December. Is there something we can do to speed that up?
So the answer is yes. We will make it a priority to ensure that the bills go out within 30 days. Historically, I think we've done pretty well with it. Looking at some of the data for this year, we have 2 months where we didn't quite make 30 days, but it wasn't much past 30 days for our general invoices. The invoices related to the treatment plant, which require submittal to the state for reimbursement, those do take a little bit longer because of the backup documentation that is required to be assembled by not just TKE, but our sub-consultants. For contracts that we do not have any sub-consultants, which is our general invoices, those are no problem. We can make sure that those get in within 30 days. We have sub-consultants, we are somewhat at times on their mercy. And what's happened in the past is they've made mistakes with their billing. So we had to send them back to ask them to make corrections to those billings, which then extended it a little bit longer. But to answer your question, Vice President, we will make sure that we make it a priority, do everything we can to get those within 30 days.
Okay, thank you very much.
Director Duff.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thornton, for being here today. I expressed my concern on Thursday, which has been a repetitive concern with our general manager and our general contracting, but specifically when it comes to this particular work, this contract here for actually augmenting our staff. What kind of assurances or guarantee can you give me that TK is not stretched too thin to provide these staff members to be here at MSWD working on only MSWD projects, and they will not be interrupted with other TKE obligations during those times?
So we do a lot of staff augmentation. I personally do a lot of it. When I am at other jurisdictions, I do not do any other business except for the business of that jurisdiction. It would be inappropriate to do so, and I give you my word that will not happen. For the 16 hours a week that is programmed, Shelby has been designated for that, and he will work on Mission Springs work only while he is at your office.
And that would be the work assigned by our staff, the supervisor he's reporting to, not necessarily other MSWD contracts you're already working on, correct?
I think that is correct.
Okay, because that with managing and being a part of the design and construction of so many other contracts, you have to understand where I get a little concerned that it could get a little muddied in them forgetting that when they're here as an employee, they're working only on what their direct supervisor is requesting, not some of the other 17 contracts that MSWD's name may be on. So I just want to kind of reiterate that that is important to me. And I think important to our residents as well, that if we're going to pay a consultant to provide employment coverage, that they in effect are acting as our employee during that time. So thank you for clarifying that.
Okay, thank you.
Director Martin?
Nope.
Director Morrell?
Yeah, I'm also kind of concerned about the timely manner that the paperwork is being turned in. And it's a concern to me. And I know you said you can get it straightened out, but I'm not quite sure.
So again, if I could, Director, our invoicing has been pretty timely overall, other than the treatment plant invoices have been somewhat delayed in getting them in, but none are more than 60 days. And any that have been delayed were delayed by subs, which I've committed to try to do a better work to get them to return their invoices more timely, so we have more time to correct potential deficiencies. So I just want to make sure you understand the message I'm delivering is, yes, we will do better, but it hasn't been a problem that is, I would say, really, really a problem with late invoices.
Anything further? And I'll just say thank you to the board for your good comments and discussion. I appreciate you being here, Mike. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have a motion for item 15?
I'll move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
No.
Director Duff,
No.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
and President Sewell.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passes.
thank you. Item 16, public water and sewer lift station and force main systems construction agreements and water and sewer bonding agreement for project Viento development. It is recommended to approve the public water and sewer lift station and force main systems construction agreements and the water and sewer bonding agreement for the project Viento commercial development project and authorize the general manager to do all things necessary to complete the agreements. General manager.
Thank you, President Sewell. On Thursday, our engineering manager, Eric Weck, provided a presentation on this item, talking about the public sewer, water and force main lift station, what we're actually talking about here as far as the construction agreements. This will be right next to our plant, and it will actually connect a sanitary sewer lift station and force main to our plant and bring it right in the front door. So we'll be able to provide service to everyone south of our plant and for the most part, even farther west. So it's a great project for us, and we appreciate Project Viento working with us to get us to this point. Eric, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Thank you, General Manager Macy. Good afternoon, President Sewell, members of the board. No, actually, General Manager Macy summed it up very nicely.
Thank you, Eric. Any questions or comments, Director Duff?
I also am appreciative in the developer working to actually develop their land there and provide a benefit for further development in that area of our district. I would ask Eric, next time you chat with them, and this is a little bit on the side of the subject here, but given our upcoming tour, they may want to do a walk of their fence line. They've had some recent dumping that needs to be addressed, okay?
Will do. I'll do that this afternoon.
Thank you so much, and thank them for their cooperation.
I will. I'll pass it on. Thank you.
Vice President? Director Martin?
Nope.
Director Mayo?
I just kind of like to echo what Director Duff said. It's great that when the developers and the water district are working together to make sure everything is done correctly. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a motion for the item?
I'll move.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Aye.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
President Sewell.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 17, authorization for purchase of booster pump control valves for the Terrace Booster Station. It is recommended that the general manager be authorized to approve the purchase of 6 clay valve booster pump control valves for the Terrace Booster Station from Core and Main for a not to exceed amount of $86,819.86. General Manager?
Thank you, President Sewell. On Thursday, we did provide a presentation on this item. Our Director of Operations, Danny Friend, talked about what the control valves actually do, where they're located at Terrace Reservoir, and then by chance, we had our GIS specialists also provide pictures of those valves to be replaced. Is there anything you'd like to add, Danny?
How could you find something to add after last Thursday? More education.
Thank you, General Manager Macy. Good afternoon, President Sewell, members of the board. All I wanted to add is there was a question about the warranty, and I didn't want to say it from my seat like I did last time, but I did send out an email. There is a 3-year warranty on that. The electronics are a 1-year warranty, and it does not void our warranty by performing the installation. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you for sending the email. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any further questions?
No.
I think we're good. Thank you, Danny. Do we have a motion for item 17?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Aye.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
President Sewell.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 18, authorization for purchase of replacement heavy equipment as approved in the capital budget. It is recommended that the general manager be authorized to approve the purchase of 2024 John Deere 210P skip loader heavy equipment from RDO Equipment Co. for a not to exceed amount of $133,000 as approved in the fiscal year 2024-25 capital budget. General Manager.
Thank you, President Sewell. Much like the previous item, our Director of Operations, Danny Friend, provided some information on this item. It is relatively straightforward, but there's also a grant where we will get reimbursed for a portion of the $133,000. Danny, is there anything you'd like to add to this? No? With that, we'd be able to answer any questions.
All right. Did we have any questions from the board? Director Martin?
No.
No.
Director Meyerhoffen? Director Duff? Vice President?
None, Dave.
And I have nothing further. Do we have a motion for item 18?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Yes.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
President Sewell.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to discussion items. Item 19, Nancy Wright Regional Water Reclamation Facility update.
Thank you, President Sewell. While we have no construction update, we do have some information on the ribbon cutting. I would ask our Assistant General Manager, Marion Champion, to provide them.
Good afternoon, members of the board. As you've been made aware, we are having our ribbon cutting on Friday, September 27th. In addition to the ribbon cutting ceremony, we'll have light refreshments, facility tours, and special guest speakers, including Joaquin Escobar, Chair of the State Water Resources Control Board, Peter Satin, Chair of the Colorado River Basin Regional Water Quality Control Board, Scott Mattis, Mayor of the City of Desert Hot Springs, Grace Gardner, council member of the city for the city of Palm Springs. We also have several proclamations that will be presented, including one from Supervisor V. Manuel Perez's office, Assemblyman Greg Wallace's office, and Congressman Raul Ruiz. Following the event, we will be promoting the opening of the plant, both on social media. We also have an editorial planned and a new billboard. So there'll be a lot of activity to keep the festivities going throughout the month.
Question.
Yes.
Regarding the people that have been invited on there, you mentioned Scott Mattis is going to be present on there, but the rest of the city council, they've all been invited?
They've all been invited through email, but we've also sent an email to the city manager's office so they can make sure that they can get that invite. I also attended 2 weeks ago, I attended a city council meeting, and during public comment, made sure that they knew they were invited as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Marion.
Thank you.
Item 20, Critical Services Center and Administrative Building update.
Thank you, President Sewell. We've asked our consultant of Renew Clark, Alvin Flores, to provide an update for you. Alvin, good afternoon.
Yep. Thank you, General Manager Macy. Good afternoon, President Sewell, members of the board and district staff. Last Tuesday, the Critical Service Center project was presented to the Planning Commission, and I wanted to thank everyone that attended that meeting, from district staff, members of the board. We also had members from our design team there as well to support the project. And I think with the unanimous approval of that board, I think everything went very well. Right now, we're just waiting on the approval letter. The only condition that was noted in that meeting was related to potential invasive grasses noted in the Cal Flora database. So we'll make sure that none of that is going to be in the project moving forward. But other than that, everything went very well on the meeting. And I did want to just share the rendering that Travis Clark from the city mentioned that it would be very helpful if we updated our renderings. We had previous renderings when it was on the previous site. So we worked up a quick conceptual plan that we're going to continue to develop as the project gets a little bit more refined. But I think notes from the city was, that there's going to be a new beautiful building at the city of Desert Hot Springs. And it's going to make a huge difference for that street. And everybody on that board was very excited about this project moving forward. From here, what we're doing, or actually what we've already done, is we started the submittal process to building and safety. There's going to be a couple of other departments they'll be submitting to as well. We're going to do those as we get the requested information from the conditions, and we'll continue to move forward with that. And I think in discussions with the city, they're looking at somewhere between maybe a 3 and 4 week turnaround for each review piece. So we'll work through those, and I think right now what we're tracking is complete approval of the various submittals before the end of the year. So if there's any questions.
Thank you. Director Martin? Nope. Director Meyer?
No.
Director Duff?
This is beautiful. Thank you for doing this, not just for Travis's request, but for ours. To be able to see it this way is really wonderful. And as far as the CalFlora list of plants, let's make sure that we review everything on our conceptuals moving forward to ensure that those invasive plants don't even end up in the pictures. CVAG spent a lot of time recently speaking about this exact subject and how can we potentially tell people selling these invasive plants not to do so in the valley. So they are definitely concerned, not just here in Desert Hot Springs, but throughout our entire valley. So thank you for being willing to act on the fly and take care of those for us. Again, great job.
Vice President?
No, great job. I like this rendering. It's the first time I've kind of seen it where I can actually take a good look. So thank you. Great job. I'm excited to get this going.
Thank you, Alvin. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have one for General Manager.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I know the citizens are wondering how we're going to pay for this. How are we doing with the funding and grants and that kind of thing?
So the funding question will be answered as was part of the long-range financial plan. We have a variety of different options available to us, whether we borrow for it, whether we pay cash, and variation of thereof. So the long-range financial plan will provide that answer to you. And Arturo is not here with us today, but I know he has been working with our consultant to pull that information together, and we'll be presenting it to you before the end of the year as well. So the fact that we'll have the long-range financial plan, how we're going to pay for it, as well as the approvals for the city and everyone else, will be coming together nicely at the end of the year.
Right, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alvin. Consent agenda consists of items 21, approval of minutes, item 22, register of demands, item 23, accept amendment to contract agreement with Timmons Group for the complete deployment of the ArcGIS Enterprise Utility Network and CityWorks, as well as item 24, board compensation. Did anyone want to pull any of those items for discussion?
The board compensation, please.
Okay. And any others that we wanted to discuss? All right. Go ahead.
I just wanted to state that I'm fully comfortable going to the ribbon cutting without being compensated, and I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay. Do we have any other opinions on item A of item 24?
As far as the board compensation for the ribbon cutting, I think it should be left up to the individual board member to either say no or yes to it. I'm at my max, so I won't be saying yes to it. But the reason why I bring it up is because there are board members here that have spent more time on this that they weren't compensated for. I know I spoke with General Manager Macy a number of times just about the landscaping and things. So that was a lot of time. So it's not just that a board member's going there because they want to get paid for a fun time and be fed. So, like I said, I won't be doing it, but I think that we should really stay open to whoever may want to be compensated.
Any other discussion?
I agree with Director Meyer.
Okay. are we okay approving the consent agenda as a whole, or do we want to vote on item 24 separately?
As a whole.
As well?
Yeah, as a whole.
All right. Do we have a motion?
I'll move to approve the items A, B, and C on the board compensation.
And this would be the whole, so item 21, 22, 23, and 21.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
sorry. Yes.
Okay. And do we have a second? I'll second. We have a motion and a second for the consent agenda. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
No.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Vice President Griffith,
Aye.
and President Sewell.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 25, director's reports. I believe we all have to go today. Would anyone like to go first? Go ahead.
I didn't do much last month. Basically just 2 DWA meetings. On August 6th, I actually went in person. Marion spoke in front of the DWA board about our groundwater protection program and our assessment districts, and it was very well received overall, or for the majority. And on the 20th, they also had a customer appeal that day. On the 20th, they talked about a strategic plan, and then Department of Water Resources having a shared data program using Flume. If you don't know what Flume is, it's more than a program, it's a device that you can actually get to put on your pipes that will tell you your flow. We have our portal, which actually does it for you, but a lot of places don't have that. So you can put this device on your pipe and then it monitors it. It'll tell you if there's a potential leak. What they're doing is they're doing some aggregate data for, what's the word? Domestic consumption, to get some ideas throughout the state. It's a statewide project. And so they agreed to go ahead with that program. And it's really for larger agencies. I think it's 25,000 or more connections. And really overall their agendas have been pretty light, which is kind of nice. And that was all I did in August. So
thank you. Director Duff, would you like?
No problem. Thank you, President. So on August 1st and 2nd, it was day 2 and 3 of our CASA conference in San Diego. I had briefly talked about that last month, as the first day of the conference was in the end of July. Again, this is a great conference, and I hope that every board member will be able to attend. This was our first time participating with CASA, and I think that it really shed a lot of light on some issues, since we're so water inundated in the water side of things, that there are some things of concern and things coming down the pipe in the future in the wastewater side of our business that we need to pay equal attention to. So that was a great conference. On the 8th, I attended a groundwater aqua committee Zoom. They were continuing to talk about the implementation of SGMA and the conservation way of life and how that's going to come into play as well. On August 13th and 27th, I attended CVWD board meetings by Zoom. They also voted to join CASA as an organization. They also were submitting a grant application for their WRP7 tertiary system. They replaced a radial canal gate, which I was amazed at how much canal gates cost. I think it was like $150,000. They also are having to spend an additional $225,000 to West Yost on their continued Chrome 6 project. That price, so I think with inflation, just keeps going up on all of the processes of that project. They're also recently hired Todd Groundwater to develop Coachella Valley Regional Water Resiliency Plan, which I thought was a interesting project, and I'm curious to see how that report comes out. I also, on the 20th, attended another Zoom with Aqua. This was on the California Conservation Way of Life. This was their presentation, basically post all of the finalization of those rules and how it was going to be rolling out in real time, which is kind of scary, looking at all those changes that we've all talked about so much. Then on the 21st through the 23rd, I attended the Urban Water Conference in San Diego. We had several good presentations. The keynote at the beginning on the Colorado River, absolute beautiful National Geographic photographs, but very realistic in talking about a 9-year period of time and the change in the water flow in that short period of time when you really look at the big scheme of things. Just amazing, and something that we are far from solving, that's for sure. They also talked, one of the other presenters, and I just kind of wanted to touch on it briefly, was a discussion about the younger workforce and how do we attract our young people to civil engineering, to the water world, wastewater jobs. And one of the discussions was what matters to them. And a lot of the things that mattered to my parents mattered to my husband and I, the security, the retirement, all of those kind of things. This generation isn't relying on because it's kind of taken from them to be able to rely on it. And this expert was really touching on the way that this current workforce wants to make a difference. They want to be able to do something with their passion that makes a difference and that they can tangibly see is making a difference. And I just wanted to take this as an opportunity to tell everyone out there that the water world is the place for them to do that. Then lastly, I attended on the 28th, the Aqua Regulatory Legislative Committee quarterly meeting by Zoom. And it was kind of nice. There were several bills that we had been watching really closely on that committee, and none of them will make it to the floor, although several will be reattempting in January. So I'll keep you posted. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have a question. What was the date of the CASA conference? Because I don't have the.
It was the July 31st, August 1st, and August 2nd.
Yeah, that was reported previously.
But I reported most of it then.
Okay. Thank you.
Director Martin, would you like to?
Yeah. On the August 12th, Desert Valley Builders Association board meeting, of special note was they are closing their headquarters that is currently in Palm Desert, and they are moving to Palm Springs. We also went over to give a budget update for Desert Valley Builders Association. On the 13th, Aqua 9 Region 9 event, Temecula. I personally was thankful that Director Meyerhoffen was present during that time because he provided information that was unfortunate as a result of comments that were made during this breakout session where he was a participant. So I'm glad you were there. On the 21st through the 23rd, Urban Water Institute is a very good conference. My only critique, and I've heard this from other people, is it was a proliferation of panel discussions as opposed to breakout. Now, these people are very, very knowledgeable, very experts in their particular field, but they are not necessarily public speakers. And it was problematic for a lot of people to sit through it and everything. But overall, it provided a lot of good information. On the 28th, Desert Valley Builders Association networking night, a bowling night. Congratulations to Ted and our general manager did very well on the bowling nights out there. And on the 19th, Cabot's Museum Foundation board meeting, financial reports, policies update, and long-range planning. And that's all I have.
Director Meyerhoffen?
Yes, on the 13th, the Regional 9 event down in Temecula, the winery there. It was at the winery. I don't want to think they didn't serve any wine to us. We had lunch. There was an unfortunate incident there, and hopefully that will come to a stop. What I really enjoyed it. I always enjoy getting around a round table and discussing different issues and sharing different ideas, and that part of it was really nice. What our district here may start looking at is what we're going to do with this building and the property here, because there are housing problems and hiring people that need to move and find housing. Some of the larger districts are buying apartment buildings to take care of their housing problem for their employees. And the reason why we're not ready for anything like that yet, but in the future, when we end up with having 80 employees, we may have that problem. So it's something we want to keep in mind. The next meeting was on the 20th. Conservation is a way of life. The new rules and regulations that they're looking at right now, one I shared some of them with General Manager Macy already. For instance, a property that's more than a half an acre may be required to have a second meter for their irrigation. They're getting some tough regulations coming our way, and it's going to be over a course of years, but we need to start preparing for that. Next one was the 28th, the bowling night. It was interesting to find out. I asked the question if everybody here that was there from all the different organizations, the Desert Valley Building Association had all the lanes taken except for 3 of them. And that was really something that the Spotlight 29 really didn't want to see happen, but they went along with it anyhow. It's always a fun night to get together with some of the staff members and relax and have a good time. I don't really take it serious. So I actually threw a couple balls left-handed just to see if I could remember how. So, and I didn't fall down this time.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
last year I fell down.
Did good.
Yeah. The DHS Planning Commission meeting, they went dark for 2 months. However, they did have an emergency meeting. I wasn't notified that they were having the meeting, so I didn't go. Other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you. And I just have, well, I did attend on the 1st and 2nd, also the CASA conference, but reported last month. I do agree with Director Duff that it was very well worthwhile, and hope that we continue and also look into a membership or some type of way to stay involved. My only thing is the 21st through the 23rd of August, I did attend the Urban Water Institute conference. I wasn't the biggest fan of their dream theme. I feel like they had quite a few sessions that weren't necessarily case studies or factual. It was a lot of speculation and dreams and hopes for the future. I didn't get too much out of those conferences or sessions, but there were a few interesting ones. I did really like the keynote speakers' photos of Colorado River. I think he took 10 months and walked the entire length of it. They were very depressing though. So great photos, just wish there was more water. There was another session that talked about the WEF, Water Environmental Federation. I pulled up their website and they do have quite a bit of information for staff and board members as well. So maybe that's something we look into. I don't know what the pricing is necessarily, but then the session, I believe Director Duff was mentioning the use of interns and some of the younger generation, and Metropolitan Water District was talking about some type of grant funding they were able to get for a lot of their interns to pay for them. And I'm just thinking of our interns that we've had from the high school, maybe in the summer as they get into college, so we could invite them back. And if there is grant funding to be able to give them a little bit of money for their time, I think that'd be great. So overall, the conference was good. I hope the theme is different next conference. And that's all I have. We'll move on to item 26, General Manager's Report. I believe we did both finance and public affairs. Or we did finance.
We did the finance. We did not do the public affairs report.
Well, good afternoon again, directors and President Sewell. I do have a short PowerPoint, and thank you for letting me to go today versus last week as I was out of town. Right, Kurt? As the weather is cooling, our event calendar is heating up. In addition to supporting the DVBA at their annual bowling event the past month, MSWD also participated in multiple conferences, including the Urban Water Institute and CSDA's annual conference. In addition to hearing about workforce challenges that most utilities across the state are facing, we also heard an in-depth case study about Flint, Michigan's water crisis, which beyond being a public health crisis, has led to financial losses, home value depreciation, population decline, and an overall lack of trust in the water system in that area that has had lasting impacts on that region. We are grateful for the members of the community and MSW staff that joined us on our September 11th annual fall live stream blood drive. We collected more than 15 donations of life-saving blood, helping commemorate 9/11 with a meaningful act of kindness. This weekend, I will be participating in a Healthy Desert, Healthy You Environmental Health Summit, and I'll be sitting on a panel discussing the important role utilities play in creating a sustainable future. On the heels of the summit, MSWD will be hosting our monthly water talk, which will feature Jennifer Ramirez. She's the Emergency Services Coordinator from the County of Riverside Emergency Services Division. In honor of September being Emergency Preparedness Month, Jennifer will discuss how to properly plan for an emergency or natural disaster and what steps residents can take to ensure their safety in an emergency situation. As I mentioned earlier, we do have our large ribbon cutting ceremony on Friday, September 27th. We have been working with the Chamber of Commerce and several different stakeholders to make sure that we're prepared for that event. At the California Special District Association annual conference last week, MSWD received the District of Distinction and the District of Transparency Certificate of Excellence from the CSDA Leadership Foundation in recognition of our outstanding efforts to promote transparency and good governance. To receive the award, MSWD demonstrated the completion of essential governance transparency requirements, including conducting ethics trainings for all board members, properly conducting open and public meetings, and filing financial transaction and compensation reports to the state controller in a timely manner. In addition to the District of Distinction and Transparency honors, several members of the MSW team were awarded individual special district governance certificates designed to honor special district board members and staff who demonstrate a commitment to continuing education and special district governance. The awardees included Board President Ivan Sewell, Board Member Russ Martin, General Manager Brian Macy, Finance Director Arturo Ceja. As some of you also may remember, Board Vice President Robert Griffith and Board Member Amber Duff received these honors back in 2023. These awards showcase the district's commitment to the various governance areas, including prudent financial practices, and we are very proud of the district and its efforts to obtain these awards. Our calendar drawing contest is still continuing, and students have until October 2nd to send in their conservation and groundwater protection drawings and have them published in our 2025 community calendar. This contest is open to all students within the MSWD service area, regardless of age. They can enter by creating an original picture depicting one of the following 6 messages: saving water, proper disposal of fats, oils, and grease, water-wise car washing, drinking water quality, not flushing wipes, and water-efficient desert landscaping. We are continuing to promote the contest in several different ways, including parent e-blasts and teacher/principal outreach, and also on our social media accounts. In August, our Water Matters newsletter featured the calendar drawing contest, skipping fall overseeding and saving water, and proper planting of avoiding tamarisk trees and their root systems. This month's Water Matters newsletter is going to feature groundwater protection efforts, Emergency Preparedness Month, and our Help to Others Bill Assistance Program. And last but certainly not least, I do have a video preview for you this month. This will be a virtual tour of our new regional facility.
Every time you flush a toilet or pour something down the drain, that wastewater needs to be treated to help keep our community clean and healthy. For decades, Mission Springs Water District has treated wastewater at the Allen L. Horton plant. As that facility began nearing capacity, MSWD carefully considered its options. Instead of expanding the Horton plant, the district realized that creating the new Nancy Wright Regional Water Reclamation Facility would better prepare MSWD to meet future needs. Funded primarily through state grants, the new plant can treat as much as 1.5 million gallons of wastewater per day, reducing demand at Horton and extending the life of that facility. The new plant will also be able to serve more homes and businesses in our growing region. The new regional plant will also allow more properties to be converted from septic systems to sewer service, protecting groundwater and reducing the risk of contamination. Newer technology plays a big role at the Nancy Wright Regional Water Reclamation Facility. It incorporates extensive automation, which means MSWD can operate the plant remotely and with minimal staff. To treat the water, the new plant uses a sequencing batch reactor. Once wastewater arrives at the plant headworks, non-treatable objects such as so-called flushable wipes and other large foreign objects are removed. The wastewater then flows into a grit chamber, eliminating fine particles, so it is ready for the next step.
So these are actually our SBR tanks, which is sequenced batch reactor.
First, the tank is filled with wastewater. Then, tiny air bubbles are pumped in from the bottom of the tank and carefully monitored to create an environment where microorganisms can consume organic matter in the water.
But the ultimate goal of the wastewater treatment plant is to have actually the microorganisms eat most of the sludge.
The aeration bubbles are then turned off, allowing the water and solids to separate.
And then from there, all the solids will actually drain to the very bottom of the tank, which then we are pumped off.
The clean, treated water floats to the top and then flows to percolation ponds to naturally filter through the ground to the aquifer. Any solids at the bottom of the SBR tank are removed and run through a belt press.
So it'll go onto this gravity belt and then go into a series of 2 different other belts that actually squeeze back and forth, dewatering all the sludge and having the water go back to the treatment plant process, giving our sludge a much lighter load when we send it out.
The new Nancy Wright Regional Water Reclamation Facility is carefully designed to meet the area's needs for generations to come, fulfilling MSWD's mission to provide, preserve, and protect our most precious resource, water. As the district continues to grow and adapt, we remain committed to serving our community with innovative solutions and dedicated stewardship, ensuring a sustainable future for all. To learn more, visit mswd.org.
And that concludes the presentation day.
Great. Any questions or comments for Marion? Director Martin?
Yeah, first I want to thank you for a very excellent presentation. And as usual, I've come to expect that from you. I also want to give a thanks to fellow board member Robert Griffith for insisting on and encouraging our participation in the SDA leadership certification programs and stuff like that. I'm glad you talked me into it, and that was very worthwhile. So thank you very much.
Director Meyer?
Yes, first of all, Assistant General Manager Champion, that's the best video I've seen so far. I think it should be on social media for the rest of our customers to see it. I'm sorry, my photo, my smiling face wasn't in the photo when the presentation was given. I had a little bit of an emergency come up, but yes, I was there at the conference. Congratulations to everybody, and General Manager Macy, that you had an award given to you the day before, and that's wonderful. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Director Dell?
Wonderful work. I can see that being a wonderful tool in a lot of our education scenarios, especially with the schools. And you picked a really great spokesperson there at the plant to share his passion with what he's doing. He's definitely the right person for the job. And I also want to thank you for all the hard work that you've put in for this ribbon cutting. And then I want to take a moment and I want to thank all of our staff members, all of the the managers, the department heads, every person that had to participate in these awards that we received. There were hours and hours and hours and hundreds of pieces of paper that had to be reviewed, hundreds of reports that had to be reviewed and submitted in order for us to receive these distinctions. And I'm very proud of our organization as a whole. And I'm very grateful for all the staff members and the time that they took to make this possible for all of us here on the board and for the organization as a whole. Great work. Thank you.
Vice President?
I really didn't have many comments, but since you showed it, congratulations to everyone for the awards. I know I was pushing a lot of people. I know some people got a little irritated with me. Nothing new, but I want to thank you, Marion, for helping me really push the organization. Everybody stepped up and getting both the certificate for transparency as well as district of distinction. It's a big deal because it demonstrates our commitment to transparency, our commitment to doing the right thing. And I know in the past there has been some question about that, but if nothing else, we have state recognition of all the hard work that the staff does. So thank you for joining me in that. Thank everybody else, everybody on the board, everybody on the staff, just to demonstrate how hard we all work here. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll just say, great video, and it was going to be my director comments, but we're on the topic right now, so I'll echo everything that was said. I think it's more than just the certificates, the work that went in from staff and the training that the board had to do. It's helped our organization more than the certificate. The certificate is very nice for the public to be able to see that we've done it, but I really think we're set up for many, many years of success. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the general manager's report? Any other?
Just one thing. I know it's not part of the general manager's report, but I did want to inform the board that we are going to make a submit a comment letter to the city regarding a developer's agreement for the pods project. There's some language in there regarding a temporary occupancy permit that we don't feel some of our conditions of approval were followed. Therefore, we will be submitting that letter, and once we get that letter finalized and sent off, we will then be CCing the board, so you'll be aware of what we're saying, why we're saying it, but that item's tomorrow night in front of the board. So with that being said, I have nothing further.
Thank you. Item 27, district council comments.
Yes, I gave my report on Thursday. There is no closed session today, and then I just wanted to circle back on the item 8 that language was in there for Riverside County.
Great. Thank you very much. Item 28, director's comments, includes general comments, requests for future agenda items, and requests for future meetings. Director Martin? Director Meyerhoffen?
Yes, I was sharing with an individual about how wonderful this board is with the questions that everybody's asking, and that we all come from some kind of a different background and a different area of work. And I think that's really important. And the questions I made the comment, I don't know if we're wearing out the staff with all of our questions yet, but we're going to keep them coming, and they are different. And sometimes I do ask some questions that I may already know the answer to, but I think it's important that the general public understands, and that comes from that training from the being on the planning commission from the League of California Cities. I think you may remember that, Vice President Griffin. The other thing is that we do a lot of work that we don't get paid for, and I don't have a problem with volunteering and going to meetings that we're not being compensated for, and supporting organizations that we do support. So I just wanted to thank everybody for working as a team, and I appreciate it, and looking forward to continuing on. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Duff?
Appreciate your comments, Director Meyerhoffen. And in addition to that, it's nice to know that the staff is obviously not too afraid because they're still giving us 810 pages of work. So I think the challenge is there. We just have to see who breaks first.
Yeah.
Staff or the board.
It won't be me.
But thank you all.
You know, I'd like to point out, I want to thank Dory for having to put all this together. This is a lot of work putting this together for us. Thanks to Dory.
Vice President?
It is Emergency Preparedness Month, and our water talk is September 25th. I strongly urge people to go. I know we talk about this all the time, but it's a nice reminder. Do you have a plan? Do you have supplies? So if you get an opportunity, please join us, and I think it'll be a good night. And other than that, I just don't have a whole lot to say.
Thank you. And I have nothing further with no closed session today. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.